We are preparing Bieler's broth, and named after Henry Bieler, B-I-E-L-E-R, who wrote the book entitled Food is Your Best Medicine, and also a book called The Natural Way to Sexual Health, others, but I highly recommend his book, Food is Your Best Medicine. So Henry Bieler knew how to, Bieler was the best clinical nutritionist that I've known of. I would say Max Gerson was probably better treating cancer, but Henry Bieler was masterful, and he used very specific amounts of different foods for different people with different conditions, and he also used short-term fasting. And when a patient becomes sick, usually not necessarily with fevers, I don't give Bieler's broth, but for all other types of illness and acute illnesses, infections and such, I prescribe Bieler's broth. And the power of Bieler's broth is that it contains, according to Bieler, the alkaline minerals, particularly the sodium and the potassium in it, replenish the depletion of alkaline minerals in the liver. And it also, and those alkaline minerals and the taste of Bieler's broth is very bland. There's no salt in it, there's no flavorings in it. And the intent is that when the body has become sick from being poisoned, it has been overstimulated and had an excess of acid-producing foods in it, and that this, with its blandness and its alkalinity, soothes the digestive tract, soothes the liver, and enables the body to eliminate those acidic poisons and return to health. It is, my whole family knows, like, when we get sick, families having Bieler broth. That's just the way it works, and from 1 year old on up, the Croppleys know that. And learning, being able to take care of acute illnesses, and we will explain this in the course. If you handle acute illnesses properly, that is how you heal chronic degenerative disease. MS, heart disease, diabetes, all of these. Learning how to care for acute illnesses enables you to continue to detoxify the body and bring it back to grow healthier and healthier. Okay, so Bieler's broth. We have zucchini, celery, and green beans. These are already cut. Here's the zucchini. Here is the celery, which when I cut these, because we're going to steam these and blend them, I don't do such finesse. Okay. But the celery will be big, the zucchini the same way, the green beans, because they're all going into a veggie mix?
Vitamix.
Vitamix,
yeah,
yes.
Exactly.
Going into a Vitamix and will be purified. So I typically put in the green beans first. They're the hardest, and I let them steam for a bit. And in this, I'll say that I've got some of the, what's the water called again?
Coherent water.
Coherent water,
Yeah.
structured water. I've got, I don't know, a cup and a half or so in here. So I'm gonna, as I say, I put the green beans in first, and then I put in pretty much everything else, and you'll see that we have, this is my addition to Bieler's broth, which is green chard, and it's got a nice salty flavor to it, naturally salty flavor to it, and a bright green color that it gives to the Bieler's broth. And this is diced parsley, and the parsley is added fresh at the end. So we steam everything except the parsley, add it, blend it all, and Bieler's broth is, I was going to say it's like a wine, but that's not a good comparison. But fresh, right? Like you open the bottle. When you have it fresh, first blended, it's great. You can keep it, and some people put it in containers and freeze it, and others will keep it in the refrigerator and have it later in the day or the next day, and it's fine to do, but fresh is like, it tastes great. It's really good. You can also use Bieler's broth as a base for other soups. So you have this, and then you could add sauteed onions to it, mushrooms to it, garlic, put in pieces of broccoli and whatever else you would choose to flavor the soup different. You can sprinkle it with Parmesan cheese if you want to. And none of this would you do if you were sick. But to have this as a nourishing base for a soup, I really don't think there's anything, any more nourishing base for a soup that you could have. So there it is.
Sounds delicious.
So we're waiting for these.
These are the
Should we-
stems from the chard, by the way. I just separated them because they're thicker if you want them.
Yeah, I will. We're going to be, at least 5 minutes for this to cook, at least. So do we want to stop this?
Sure.
We can.
Yeah, are you going to add those? Or unless you wanted to tell your family story about
I'm
the
going to add them because they'll blend up.
Yeah.
All right, so all of these?
Yeah?
Yeah? All right.
Well, follow the
You
recipe.
guys are going to have a lot of Bieler's broth here.
That is not a problem.
How did your family come to be a follower of Dr. Bieler?
Bieler?
Yeah. How did that happen?
I believe it was through my grandmother who had rheumatoid arthritis. So, and somehow, no, I'm going to say before my grandmother, we had a friend who, her name was Norma Miller. And we were really close. She was my mother's best friend. And she had a autoimmune disorder, lupus. She had lupus and went to see Bieler, and she was really a good patient, and her lupus was cured, right? And she was getting into dangerous territory with it. So she told my mother, and my mother went, well, maybe Grandma would be benefited by this. And so we took her to Bieler, and that was where we have the story of me coming home, and which we can turn on if you want me to tell it.
We're going.
It's going.
Oh, it's going?
Go ahead.
All right, so my mother took my grandmother to Henry Bieler, which I didn't know. I came home one night, and we have a family bar like this, and I walk up the bar, and my grandmother's sitting here, and she's eating some food that isn't what we usually eat in the Cropley household, and I look at that food and think, Grandma, what are you eating there? And she goes, well, this is broiled lamb, and this is steamed zucchini, and then I have a green salad here with a little bit of apricot oil on it and some lemon. So first of all, I had never seen a zucchini before. And I said, what is that? And my mom goes, oh, that's zucchini. And I said, well, why are you eating this? And my mom goes, well, Dr. Bieler put her on a diet for her arthritis. And I looked and I said in all innocence, I went, what has diet got to do with arthritis? Like, what's what you eat have to do with your health? It was, to me, a mystery. And then I also remember standing there and looking at what my grandmother was eating and saying to myself, I would rather die than eat like that.
Look at you today.
Yeah, look at you today.
Really?
Oh my
really? Yes, how things do change.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And Bieler then took care of my sister while she was pregnant. Bieler used to deliver babies in the area, and the health of his young mothers was incredible because of the eating regimen that he put them on. Yeah, and he's also got a really good book that is called Modern Madonna, from back in the 60s, with a girl with a short skirt standing out in the freeway with her thumb out, and he talks all about each month of pregnancy and how to be fed, and by his whole model, how it is that in his model there are 3 filters for food, and the first filter is the intestinal tract, and as the intestinal tract weakens, then fermented foods and poisons and so on get through the liver.
Sure.
When the liver weakens, then the blood begins to change, and as the blood begins to change, then the pituitary, the adrenal, and the thyroid, which were the 3 that he pointed to, the hormonal balance of the body goes off, and the body, the different endocrine glands direct the elimination of poisons, whether it's through the skin, through the lungs, through the bowels. And then, so in the pregnant mother, the 4th line of defense is the placenta.
Sure.
And as the mother in a toxic woman, that blood, it passes through the placenta.
Sure.
And then affects the baby. And what happens in the baby is that they develop the vernix caseosa, which is just taken as being absolutely normal in humans today. But Bieler maintains that it's a toxic elimination. And then also they will become poisoned and either vomit or pass stool and urine into the amniotic fluid, which we know about, comes about. Also the RH factor he never had a problem with, and he explains all these by those sequences of barriers until the poisons that should not get to the fetus get to the fetus and cause all these problems.
Modern Madonna.
Modern Madonna.
Great.
I'll show it to you. Yeah, I'll send it to you. Yeah, it's cool.
Thank you, Charlie.
Yeah, my joy. Okay. Are we? No, we're not making great time here. There we go. All right. So.
Do you want a spoon?
It doesn't really make, as long as there's enough water in there
Oh,
to
yeah,
steam
yeah.
it, we can always add more.